So for my second global news perspective, I was looking at a lot of different options, but the one that caught my attention comes from Mexico. First of all, I speak Spanish. So for me, finding something that I can read in Spanish and study is really cool. The other thing that I love though too is that it was focused on the Mayan culture, which I took a course in at Weber State University and found the material to be really enriching, and I fell in love with their culture. So the story that I found was on CNN for the news source in the United States, and the one in Mexico is called El Universal. And the nice thing about this source in Mexico is that they have all of their articles in English and in Spanish so that anyone can go in and read them. But the story focused on the first ever found Mayan ship that was used for slave trade. It was called La Union, and in 1861 they were illegally capturing Mayans during the war, and they were taking them across Yucatan port to force them into sugar labor. They were working with sugar cane and taking care of things like that. And this was during a war of the castes. So essentially, if you weren't high enough in rank or considered good enough, you were a low member in a lower caste, you were just taken and sold. One of the things that I found interesting about this is both of the news articles actually focused on a lot of the same material. But it was kind of cool to see how the Mexico news report focused a lot more on the culture of Mexico and what this meant to the people. It used a lot of personal sources from Mexico and talked about how it was a story told from generation to generation. And that's part of the reason they were able to discover it, is because of the legend of this boat. The one from the United States was a lot more focused on the details. It was just very blunt, just informative. But one of the things that I thought was very interesting is both of them focused very much on one point, that they're not even sure how many Mayans were on the boat. They think around 25 to 30, but because they were listed as cargo instead of as passengers, they're not sure how many of them were actually Mayans themselves. But there were about 60 slaves that they know of and about 80 crew members that they think perished in this incident. So it was just super cool to me, again, to read up on that information and to better learn about the ways in which a culture, when they're writing about their own news, you can feel a sense of honor, I think, and pride that you don't get if you're reading it from another country's perspective. So I thought that that was cool, as both were informative, both were exciting, but just reading the one from Mexico was much more intriguing because it was a legend that was, proven to be true, one, and also that it just helped them to better understand their culture. So I thought that that was really cool.